1939. Britain, France and Canada plunge into the Second World War. But for the Somerville family up in Glasgow, another great event occurs. On Friday, the 2nd of September, young Bill Somerville is born into that tumultuous world. From the start, Bill radiated a warm and thoughtful disposition. His friendly and outgoing nature did not take long to surface. Through the difficult war years, he kept his mother and father constantly entertained. In his teens, Bill became fascinated with television, opening up in Scotland in the early 1950s. At 16, he was working as an apprentice engineer at Dergavels, one of Glasgow's major television suppliers. Bill always knew how to enjoy himself and really appreciated a good night out with the lads. He was fast becoming familiar with Glasgow's many pubs. In the 1950s, Glasgow was often a dark grey industrial city, and soon Bill was tempted by the lure of foreign parts. After all, the sunny continent of Europe was only a few days away by motor scooter. Bill's first trip abroad triggered an awareness of sophisticated lifestyles that existed elsewhere. By the time Bill was 20, his bachelor days were drawing to a close. A casual night out in the town was to change his life forever. Across the seething, smoke-filled mass of Glasgow's majestic ballroom, he caught sight of 18-year-old April through the swirling crowds on the busy dance floor. It was a classic case of love at first sight. After a whirlwind romance, Bill and April were married and flew off to America for a working honeymoon. Their stay was to last 11 months. Bill and April returned to Scotland in 1961. Back in Glasgow again, Bill joined Scottish television as a technical assistant. In no time at all, his career moved from engineering to production. His work as a cameraman gave him crucial experience that would prove invaluable later on. Meanwhile, another change took place in his life. Bill the adventurer became Bill the family man with the birth of young Don in 1962. Bill's expertise as a photographer was put to good use as his family grew up. Through the lens of the camera, he captured many priceless scenes. Each picture now tells a story and holds many memories for the Somervilles. Here's young Stephen, who first appeared on the scene in 1966. Bill's work in television took him to many parts of Scotland, including the wild country of the Scottish Highlands. But like many Scottish people before him, his future lay in another country, many miles away from these historic mountains. In 1967, Canada's centennial year, the call of North America could no longer be resisted. The Somervilles made the crucial decision to pull up roots and head for Toronto. After a brief spell at the CBC, Bill moved to the University of Toronto's Media Centre, where he was to remain for 15 years. As a television producer, he became involved with a wide variety of topics. Meanwhile, in 1970, a new member of the Somerville clan was welcomed into the world. As Bill's dad found out, young Paul was just as lively as his older brother and sister, Not surprisingly, Bill's life was now a constant hive of activity. But with his family up to full strength, he was in an even better position to ensure that there was always lots of fun around.
I ought to be in pictures. I'm the picture of health. Chow, chow, chow. Buy meow mix for your cat, made by Purina.
We're walking into the kitchen to Mrs. Betty Crocker. Mrs. Betty Crocker, what are you trying to make? It seems to be some underprivileged animal.
It must be still alive.
My mom always complains about dirty socks. I told her, look at my shoes. They're no use. How can I win?
Many people are like that. Little boys who've been beaten by their father and mother. Back to you, Kent, you gay.
Bill has always made good use of his time, and despite a busy schedule, has always found time for sports. His old love of soccer has not diminished, even in hockey-dominated Canada.
Oh, a good header by Johnson, only it went to the other team. It comes now, a nice build-up. There's Billy Somerville now. He can really do things with this ball, as you can see.
For Bill, like his mother, the family has always been very special. And over the years, he and April have had many proud moments together. Certainly, there has been no prouder father when on Saturday, June the 7th, 1984, he escorted Dawn down the aisle to marry Stephen. At the reception, he was in his usual top form.
I want to thank everybody for coming, and most of all Don and Steve. Everybody in the room knows they've stuck together for longer than most marriages. This is the 7th of July, which is the 7th day of the 7th month, and they've been going for 7 years. So they met in, do you want to do the calculation? Which is quite remarkable, eh? I met April, we went for 7 weeks, 7 nights. So it doesn't all rub off on the kids, eh? Or maybe it's the 7-year itch or something. So it's getting dark, we should go and dance soon. I think we had enough of the speeches. Yeah. So if anybody's got any wine in their glass, let's drink a toast to each other, empty the glasses, and then we'll go next door. So here's to each other.
In 1985, Bill was faced with a new challenge when the Ontario government decided to introduce television to the legislature at Queen's Park. Bill's years of experience enabled him first of all to establish the service and later on manage the department. Of course, Bill's biggest asset has been his ability to make friends and make people feel at ease. He has always been able to bring out the best in everyone. He's a first-class organizer and a hard worker, as well as a devoted husband and father. This year, 1989, marks his 50th birthday. Many happy returns, Bill, and lang may your lum reek.